Hey, and welcome to CBR. We love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that doesn't mean we can't see the franchise has had its problems. Today, let's dive into the history of Marvel Studios and how their success has backfired in recent years.
I'm not the bad guy.
The MCU has been a Hollywood staple for over 15 years, but what was once seen as a groundbreaking initiative now has been facing increasing criticism. One of the main reasons for that is oversaturation. The superhero genre in general has only increased in output over the decades, with the very creation of the MCU being a mere symptom of how the audiences were responding positively to the concept in the 1990s. Marvel Studios was founded in 1993, but when Marvel finally entered the superhero movie industry, others had already established themselves as the lead production companies in the genre. By forming an in-house film division, Marvel was able to claim the rights to many of its characters who were available to other companies up to that point. But it was a long bureaucratic process to get Marvel Studios to the position it got to in the 2000s.
And of course, I can't leave without saying Excelsior.
Long before the franchise became one single overarching narrative, or cinematic universe as it's called, Marvel Studios was involved in the making of the 1998 film Blade and licensed the Spider-Man rights to Columbia for the 2002 Spider-Man by Sam Raimi, while DC movies like Batman and Superman were automatic box office hits. To set itself apart from DC, Marvel leveraged what it had: the comic books. Seeing a boom in sales during this period, Marvel Studios argued that their movies could be different from the DC Comics adaptations because they were more preoccupied with respecting the source material, even pulling direct quotes from Marvel Comics pages like the iconic line, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
This was a fantastic strategy that made people more interested in both Marvel movies and Marvel Comics, and this naturally led to the idea of creating the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because Marvel Comics already operated under the notion that all stories could connect at some point in a crossover event. In 2004, they transitioned from licensing and overseeing to becoming an actual film production company, and they faced a lot of bureaucratic challenges, like fighting for the rights to the Hulk with Universal, until they finally managed to release Iron Man in 2008. Fast forward to 2025. All the initial amazement audiences felt with the release of the Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America franchises along with Avengers movies has died way down. For every successful Marvel movie and show, there are 2 or 3 projects that aren't hits, with an average of projects per year that kept increasing until now.
But one day, your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. And when he does, say yes.
The most successful Marvel movie of 2024 was Deadpool and Wolverine. It worked not only because Deadpool has already become a fan favorite with his 2 earlier films, but because this third installment in particular heavily relied on nostalgia for a time when Marvel heroes were booming, when Blade, Elektra, and the Fantastic Four came out in the 2000s. That doesn't mean the films today lack a quality the older films had. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone to go to bat for the Fantastic Four movies. Creating an interconnected universe of stories was a genius move, but it set the bar high for whatever came next, and the MCU has had some trouble keeping up with itself. This resulted in the artists and writers working for Marvel Comics maintaining the traditional creative freedom, while the filmmakers working for Marvel Studios are stuck in a production method. Over the years, it led to filmmakers being trapped within the confinements of the rules that shape the MCU, leading to criticism no matter which way they go. If a story defies the MCU, it makes no sense. If it only exists to serve the development of the MCU, it's underwhelming.
Assemble.
When you have dozens of interconnected stories competing for attention, it becomes increasingly difficult to give each character the depth and nuance they deserve. The MCU has left way too many loose ends by oversaturating itself with information. I don't know if this can be seen any more than in the film The Eternals. They had like 5 setups at the end of that movie that have still not yet come to be. The Eternals struggled to give its numerous characters the emotional depth they needed. The result was a visually stunning but narratively shallow experience, leaving audiences disconnected from the heroes they were supposed to root for. We could say the MCU in general is also suffering from the same problem the Eternals had, but on a larger scale. The all-time favorite heroes are the ones who had individual missions to transform them. Tony Stark's evolution from a narcissistic weapons manufacturer to a self-sacrificing hero, or Steve Rogers adapting to a modern world only to go back in time, were cohesive stories that resonated deeply with audiences. In Disney Plus shows in particular, it's great how the franchise is able to experiment with different styles of filmmaking. The focus often feels fragmented, with character arcs competing for screen time against larger narrative requirements and plots meant to tease future projects. There's way too much homework to understand, for example, Wanda's part in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes are characters with good development so far, but making a limited series, however great and entertaining it was, instead of one-off solo films for each, undermines their capacity of fronting an enormous franchise. Despite the boom of the streaming services, there's a huge part of the MCU audience that won't watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier or other series, and to have a great character never be the protagonist of a good movie makes fans lose interest in them.
Heading towards the very, very big picture, and as we've already announced, that big picture is the multiverse saga in a very big way.
Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, has spoken publicly about the need to refine their approach. The announcement of fewer projects per year moving forward seems like a step in the right direction. While the interconnected nature of the MCU will always be its hallmark, fans have shown that they value well-told individual stories just as much as epic crossovers. The MCU seems to be working on establishing teams right now. A new Avengers team led by Sam Wilson as Captain America. A young Avengers team including heroes like Miss Marvel and Wiccan. The Thunderbolts team, who will be introduced in their own movie in 2025. And of course, the upcoming Fantastic Four film is another team-based movie. And the X-Men at some point in this phase or the next. With Avengers movies expected in 2026 and 2027, we need carefully constructed solo films about the team members like we had in the first 3 phases. With the treatment that Sam Wilson has been given so far, and with his first solo Captain America film coming in 2025, he can become the well-developed character who will bring back that excitement once felt for Tony Stark or Steve Rogers. Captain America: Brave New World needs a strong plot twist for Sam. Do you agree that Marvel Studios has this problem? Share your thoughts on the topic in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.